came in. From the wire, we learned that Nelson Rockefeller.
Why would someone want to bomb the Debonair?
Well, we were pretty strong. I mean,
Good business.
Good business. We had a lot of fine business, and we were hurting some clubs on that side of town.
Are you hinting, sir, that someone who was opposed to the amount of business you were doing could perhaps take actions of this nature?
Very true.
You're stopping just short of saying that your competition was responsible for this. Is that what you feel?
That's true.
You feel your competition was responsible for this explosion?
Very true. Because, I mean, it's been going on about 8 months. If you've been following it, you know what I'm talking about.
And it's strictly business. No, nothing else enters into it. They just want you out of business so their business can prosper. Is this what you're saying?
That's very true.
Well, I don't think they are committed. I think that over a third of the delegation have expressed a preference for Governor Reagan. And it is very true that most of the rest of them have expressed a preference for Dick Nixon. But I have read nowhere, nor have I discovered anywhere, that there is any firm commitment been made. Now, Senator Tower and I think on yesterday, Congressman Bush indicated their personal support of Dick Nixon. But I haven't seen any widespread resolution or commitment on the part of the delegates themselves from Texas in support of the nomination of Richard Nixon. I think many of them are uncommitted at this point.
So when we talk about a normal routine failure over North Vietnam, let me tell you, there is no such thing as an ordinary failure. It's a catastrophe. And one screw improperly placed or left adrift inside of the aircraft can mean the difference between the pilot and the airplane getting back to the ship and ending up as a guest in the Hanoi Hilton, which I understand is not noted for its hospitality. These little things do become important, and I admire the aircraft that we have gotten. This doesn't mean to say that we haven't had the cannon plugs that were mismatched or the oversized bolt, non-standard, which after you've drilled that hole, we have a dickens of a time finding one to fit it on the ship. And all these other things don't happen. But in general, not only is it a well-designed aircraft, it's a well-built aircraft.
In 1942, during the first American assault against the Japanese at Guadalcanal, no self-respecting Marine would have been caught dead without a full beard. Today's soldier, herein referred to as a grunt, is in sharp contrast to his completely uninhibited predecessor. He is clean-shaven. His pay is greater, his ice cream more regular. He enjoys periods of rest and recuperation during which he has a King's X week to see the world. Yet his contact with an equally tenacious enemy remains about the same, with the advantage of pre-unrealized superiority in firepower and greater chances of survival. Vietnam is not a war for the memory retread, for the day of the dog-faced soldier is gone forever, and war will never be the same. There must be an easier way to make a living. Fred Hatton in Vietnam for Channel 8 News. Since the first shot was fired at Concord, American history has recorded a war unique to each generation, most of them in the name of freedom and the dignity of man. I have fought a war within a war in Vietnam, not so much to save my life, but to save my beard. I have stood alone in repulsing waves and division strength led by spit and polish officers for the right to retain this unkempt growth which was, during World War II, the status symbol of G.I. Joe, the dog-faced soldier.
Pilots that flew the A-7 were very happy to be flying it, had a great deal of confidence, and looking back on it, I really feel we did a job well done. We unloaded a great deal of ordnance on the enemy, accurately, as accurately, if not more accurately than ever before. It's a pleasure flying your product.
The Republican Party, except when it has nominated a national war hero not really identified with any political party, has not won an election in this country in 40 years. And it also must be remembered that the Republicans are greatly in the minority in this country. We represent only 27% of the voters. So that if we're going to win this election, and one thing I have found out in politics and in this country, and that is that you do not get a chance to govern unless you win. And in order for any Republican to win, he must attract independent voters and Democratic voters, and must be able to run well in the urban areas and to attract some labor support and get some support from ethnic groups. And I think the delegates of this convention would not be discharging their responsibilities to the party and to the nation unless they analyzed these polls very carefully and made a determination as to their nominee based upon the man whom they think would have the best chance of winning this election in 1968. I think this is a very reasonable on the part of the governor.
The Texas Republican delegates seem to be at least virtually or appear to be committed to Richard Nixon. How do you hope to gain them now for Rockefeller?